Yo, what's up, guys? You got II here. Once again with my good friend Illusion.
What's up, guys? Illusion here again.
So today we're bringing you the TMT match versus Team Phantom Troupe. And today they brought Mega Altaria, Fortress, Victini, Jolteon, Suicune, and Hitmonlee. And let's
So they
get...
pretty much
Oh,
brought what we would expect from them to bring. There's no Rhyperior, so they're using Jolteon as their Tapu Koko answer. Once Jolteon is gone, though, Tapu Koko can put in some nice amount of work.
yeah. And what's also interesting to note is they didn't bring Superior, which means they have no Zmon. So we don't have to worry about any random Z moves coming out. Um, and yeah, let's hop into the battle. So they decided to lead Victini as we led Gligar. Now, we discussed in our team builder why we were going to lead Gligar, and it was mainly because we have the taunt to stop Fortress from setting up hazards, as well as Rhyperior, and this is also our rocker. So here they just go for a U-turn, and we go for Roost, I believe, just to scout if they have HP Ice. Again, like Specs HP Ice Victini would be able to 2 KO this, and we'd be able to gauge like how much damage that did with the Pokemon calculator and determine what kind of set they were and what other moves they might be. They go into
We were, uh, we were able to find out from that damage that they weren't banded Victini because U-turn didn't do as much.
exactly. It was kind of a close calc. We couldn't really tell if it was physical or special because U-turn it doesn't do much to Gligar at all. But they decided to go Fortress, and this is perfectly fine for us because we have the taunt. So we go for taunt, stopping them from getting up rocks, and now we can just get up rocks of our own, which definitely will help us out in the long run of the game. They go Altaria, and we don't know if they're physical or special, but we don't want to take a hit regardless. They go for Hyper Voice, and it's good.
Metagross was the safest play for either set. If they DD'd, Metagross could take a hit, and if they were special, we could take a hit because we're Assault Vest.
Exactly. Regardless, Metagross is like, as long as it doesn't get weakened, it's a fine switch into Altaria. Even if they're Fire Blasted, I think we could take like 2 of those. They go into Fortress, which is a fair play. Fortress kind of always takes on Metagross, barring an HP Fire set. As we proceed to double out into Tapu Koko. Now here's
The
where
way we saw this play, we doubled out because we didn't think Altaria would stay in because from calculating damage, they'd know we were Assault Vest, and if they did stay in, they would Fire Blast, which wouldn't do that much to Coco.
it'd do a decent chunk depending on how much investment they had. But again, that they run the risk of missing, and if we stayed in with Metagross, it'd be an awful turn of events for them. They should not have risked it, and they didn't. So we doubled into Coco, which kind of covered like maybe a Suicune switch in or a Fortress switch in, which is what they did. And now we have to deal with the 50-50 mind game. Do they go into Jolteon? Do they stay in, trying to spin these hazards away and get up rocks? We decided to just go for the Thunderbolt because we figured it was the safest play. We don't have defog on Gligar, so if they got up rocks, it'd be there to stay, and they could always spin hazards away with like Hitmonlee. They go into Jolt, yeah. So we go Gligar here. We didn't think they'd outright HP Ice because we had Snorlax, but Snorlax was the obvious mid-ground play. If we did go Snorlax, things would have worked out a lot better for us.
But we went into Gligar because we lived any hit, no matter what they went for. As you can see, we lived a quad effective HP Ice. Did a good amount, but we still are at a 40%, which is enough to roost on certain Pokemon.
Yeah, and if they weren't Life Orb, it was a chance in our favor to not to a KO. So we wanted to risk that. Again, I was kind of surprised that they went for the HP Ice when we had Snorlax as an obvious switch in, but good play on their part. And yeah, so we decided to switch out to preserve Gligar because it still has its uses. Oh, another reason why another reason why we went Gligar instead of Snorlax is because if they Volt switched, they could have gone into Fortress and gotten up hazards. And as we said before, we don't have defog, and we wanted to keep those off the field. So they go for the HP Ice, as we then go
We go into
into...
Snorlax here because we don't want to get 2-hit KO by HP Ice. It's a safe
Yeah.
play. This could have been our initial switch in. Because
Yeah.
it's like our semi Jolteon answer.
hmm Again, great play on our opponent's part to go for the Volt Switch. Powered up by Electric Terrain. Still doesn't do too much to Snorlax because we're bulky, but still a great play on their part. As I believe they go into Hitmonlee. Okay.
They,
And they're
they
actually
reveal the Electric Seed, which triggers their Unburden.
yeah, this is actually great news for us because now we don't have to guess whether they're banded or whether they're life orb and whatnot, or whether they're like an unburdened set. Well, they are an unburdened set, but I'm talking about like fake out, unburdened, normal gym. But as we said in the team builder, Necrozma is always our switch into this. Hitmonlee can't really do anything to it. Um, as they just go for the knockoff, it does 42%, and now knockoff is considerably weakened versus us, as they get a crit there, which is unfortunate for us, as we just
It makes it
moonlight.
so we have to Moonlight again.
Yeah, basically. And they revealed the Blaze Kick, which is interesting because I'm guessing they had it for Metagross and Mega Heracross, but it was definitely an interesting play. We did not expect it. We thought
So
maybe.
since they're staying in and they're doing pitiful damage, we see this as a chance for Necrozma to set up
hmm
and start sweeping through their team.
Exactly. A burn would be unfortunate, but it's the game we play. So we Calm Mind up. Um, they switch out, which is a good play on their part, and go Fortress. As I believe we Iron Defense here to be able to take on Hitmonlee's hits better. And now they have to make a decision. Do they get up hazards and spin this away? Or do they try and Toxic Us to wear us down? And they choose to Toxic Us, which is a good play on their part. Um,
We're willing to sack Necrozma here because the way we see it, Fortress is a big nuisance if it gets up rocks, and
mhm.
even if it spins, we still have our rocker, and their rocker will be dead, and we'd have another chance to set up rocks to hurt the team later on in the game.
Exactly, exactly. So now here's where it gets interesting. They go Jolteon, right? And on the calc, in order to kill us, they need a max roll. They need the highest of rolls, the highest of max rolls to be able to kill us. And they get it. So
But
Necrozma's
if
down.
Jolteon died here, Tapu Koko just won the game outright.
Yeah, exactly. Um, and Hitmonlee already burned its Electro Gym, so Unburden won't be upping its speed again, which is good for us. We have See, here we were thinking about this play for a while. If they went Snorlax, we knew they'd just Volt Switch out. I don't think we would. Did we have Pursuit on Snorlax?
Yes, we did have Pursuit.
I don't think we do enough damage with Pursuit to be able to kill it, and we still kind of need it as a Victini answer. Heracross kind of only puts in work versus Suicune, but he doesn't really have any Mega Heracross answers, so we decided to go this. We knew we could live any hit, and even a Thunderbolt, they go for Volt Switch, which is a good play on their part. Does a considerable amount as we go for the Rock Blast, I think. Yep.
And do a huge chunk of damage to Altaria.
So this kind of reveals to us that it's offensive based, and we actually stayed in here wanting to see if they had speed on it as well. We didn't want to go Metagross in case they Fire Blasted, which was an okay play they could have made. But now we were running the calc, and in the team builder we are max Spadef Gligar, and we're able to live even a max roll Hyper Voice from Altaria. Of course, at this point we're risking them not critting us, but it was a play we had to make. Gligar gets up rocks, and it stops Victini's Volt Switch, so we kind of needed this around still. As you can see that we take that comfortably. We're able to roost up, and
So now we know Altaria can't beat Gligar 1v1.
yeah, which is great news for us. And they actually Toxic us, and we're immunity, and that play works out great for us because we're able to get up rocks, and they have no way to remove them now. Victini is severely weakened. We're able to just freely Earthquake spam. They can bring Suicune in, but again, we kind of have answers to it. Again, we don't want to switch in Coco. We don't want that weakened. Jolteon's still around, so we can't really spam Thunderbolt yet. So we go into Snorlax as the mid-ground play. They
So
burn us,
something interesting
which
we
they do.
learned from them switching it on rocks is that they're not leftovers.
Yeah,
So we were thinking in our heads like maybe they're Wakan Berry, maybe they're some sort of other item.
yeah,
We just don't know what their item is at the moment.
exactly. So at this point, they bring in Hitmonlee, and they can do one of two things. They can high jump kick, or they can knock off predicting Gligar. They could also poison jab predicting Coco, but that's a bit far fetched. We figured they'd knock off here actually because if they had jump kick, they have a chance of missing, and it does nothing to Gligar. And if they get the Eviolite off, Altaria does much more to Gligar than it normally would. So I think we make the Tapu Koko play, which is kind of the mid ground play.
And
We
with
lit
Liquid, as you can see, they have almost no failure resist. They have Victini, but that's going to take rocks damage. And if Victini's weakened, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. And we even lived a poison jab too. Uh, Even if they poisoned us, I think we'd still be able to take that on. They go Altaria, just sacking that thing off. Um, but yeah, that worked out for us great. Now they go Victini. So like, they could be scarfed, they could not be, but we figured at this point we still needed Coco around for the Suicune. So we go Gligar, knowing we can take any hit really, especially if they're special, which they go for the Blue Flare. They get a crit, which is kind of unfortunate because that forces us to roost again. But they bring in Suicune. Now we go Snorlax, basically just sacking it off. We're burned. We'll try to get some Body Slam paras. I don't know why they switched out. I guess they didn't have any recovery on Suicune, but they go Hitmonlee again.
We don't get the para.
We don't get the para. And so this is the play where we're like, okay, Snorlax is kind of useless to us now. It can switch in on Suicune, but at this point we know that they cannot go for a fighting move. They need to predict something. If we go Coco, we'll be able to kill it back. It can't come in on Snorlax anymore.
They can't let Coco have initiative versus their team because it's dual stabs at this point, just destroy them.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have to make a play predicting Coco or Gligar.
Yeah, and they do. They make the Earthquake play, and we Body Slam, just kill that off. We're burned, so not too big of a threat for them, but like we can still take hits, which is good. So now they go into Jolteon, and they'll be able to just kill us with the Thunderbolt.
That's more Life Orb damage.
Yeah. No way we were switching Gligar in there. Even though we probably could have. And now we can go Metagross. And
Its AV Sword can live any hit from Life Orb Jolteon.
yeah, even Shadow Ball. So at this point, we can we have Pursuit, we have Thunder Punch, we have Earthquake, and I think, wait. Hang on. What's the Metagross set again? Do you remember? I know we have Pursuit. Do we have
Bullet
Pursuit?
Punch. We have Bullet Punch.
Oh, we don't.
We don't have Pursuit. We have Bullet Punch.
We have Bullet Punch, Meteor Mash, Thunder Punch, and
Earthquake.
Earthquake. So at this point, looking at the remainder of their team, they have Suicune, Victini, and Jolteon. Earthquake is kind of a free move. We could also go for Thunder Punch, predicting Suicune, but at this point, it's not worth it.
Yeah, if they stay in and we heal Jolteon, that would be terrible.
Yeah, that'd be awful. So they go Suicune as we go for the Earthquake. Now, Metagross is set to outspeed regular speed Suicune as long as it's not running speed. We decided to go for the Thunder Punch this play. Them going into Jolteon would have definitely been trouble for us. But I think it was a play we need to make at this point. Scald would have been very annoying versus any of our team. But yeah, we
would have been a very aggressive play, especially because we could have Zen headbutted or Earthquaked again.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, so now they go Victini. We actually want to preserve this for Bullet Punch. And we know Gligar can take just about any hit. If they go for Glaciate, we can go right back into Metagross, because at this point, we're kind of assuming that they're scarfed.
They wouldn't have brought it in on
Coco,
top
yeah.
Coco if it wasn't scarfed.
So now they Blue Flare, and they get a burn here, which doesn't really matter in the long run, but Gligar can freely roost up. And this is one of the reasons why we didn't switch it on Hitmonlee, because Knockoff would have taken off the Eviolite, and we would have taken a lot more damage from Victini, Altaria, and Jolteon. So now they're going to switch out into Jolteon so they can get HP Ice damage as we decide to roost here.
We can pretty much Life Orb stall them here. Like, even if they're crit, I don't think they kill Gligar.
Yeah,
and it puts it in range with Bullet Punch.
And at this point, they pretty much have to HP Ice. So this is pretty much a free switch into Metagross to Bullet Punch. As we're able to... They get a crit there, of course. But we're able to Bullet Punch and take out Jolteon. And now Victini is our last Mon. And as we said in the beginning, rocks were a necessity this game. If Victini was able to come in without taking damage every time, it would have been a much more difficult game to beat them up with. Now we can just freely go into Gligar and Earthquake, and win the game. So GG to Team Phantom Troupe, and
It was a tough battle. They made some good plays with Jolteon, especially versus Gligar and Snorlax. But
yeah,
we were able to bring it back with rocks.
yeah, rocks were definitely helpful versus them. I was a bit surprised to see them bringing Blaze Kick Hitmonlee, but we all have our hidden tech, I guess. Um,
Gligar put the team on its back this game,
yeah,
able to beat Altaria, able to beat Jolteon, and Victini in the end game.
yeah. I'm kind of disappointed Necrozma didn't end up sweeping, but again, it worked out for us. We were able to win the game comfortably. Hacks would have hacks on Gligar. If we let Gligar go down, I think we definitely would have lost this game. Um, but yeah, good game to Team Phantom Trope, and stick around for more TMT battles. Bye.